Once again, confirmation that this is an 18-lap race for the Masters. Even though we're decimated down to just 7 starters, that's through, well, a modest entry, it has to be said, but there have been misfortunes with people going out. Most notably, the Rotax World Champion of 2003, Cristiano Magado, took a heavy thump when he hit the wall in a DD2 heat on Saturday late afternoon. There's the whistle. So the clear the track boards are being shown, and what that means is that the drivers' helpers will have to move away, and we'll be left with the grid girls, and we'll go through the starting procedures. Jérôme Bourcard, cart number 402, is on pole position. The 34-year-old Frenchman from Besançon, he starts on pole, and he'll be alongside the world DD2 Masters champion. Did you get the message? Clear the track? Well, those girls have made it clear, haven't they? Can't be any more obvious than that. Well, in shot momentarily there was Radim Faber from the Czech Republic, so he'll be able to chat these girls up better than most. He's from the Czech Republic, and so are the girls. And as the girls are led off the circuit, we appreciate their contribution. They'll be back. The girls will be back. But right now, an official announcement to be made. Car number 407 you see in shot is John van Wyk from South Africa. Didn't start racing karts until he was over 40. This is by far the best performance he's made in a Rotax Euro Challenge round. He's always been a little bit towards the back previously. He's finding some form now. 43-year-old John van Wyk from South Africa. Nice head-on shot there. Coming into focus is cart number 431. Or not sure if the sun's shining correctly on that, because I don't think it is. It's 401. And the motors start being estimated. It's Colin Davis, the world champion, cart 401 on the second row as they roll forward now towards their formation lap. An 18-lap race for the Masters. Well, it is unfortunate that Cristiano Magado, the world 2003 champion, or the 2003 world champion in Rotax Max Senior, is unable to take his place, but we do have 2 other world champions. The reigning Rotax Masters World Champion 401 Colin Davis. The reigning Rotax DD2 Masters World Champion Christoph Adams, cart number 408. Last year's runner-up in this series, Jérôme Bourcard, starting on pole position. The improved Czech driver Radim Faber, cart number 417, starts on row 3 with Mark Thompson. Mark Thompson, the gentleman from Preston, who drives for fun but enjoys it with him. And Georges Popov on screen will line up on row 4, but Cristiano Magado, whose name you see on screen, driving out of the Corridas awning, will not be starting. Cristiano Magado will not be starting. Cristiano Magado driving for the Portuguese Corridas team. His parents are Portuguese, and so Cristiano Magado, whose name has a very strong Portuguese ring about it. There you see the start lights in red. We go racing when they go out. They go out when the drivers approach the start, providing the clerk of the course is satisfied that they are 1, in formation, and 2, at an appropriate speed, which is just above walking pace as they approach. Anything too fast in the start makes the starts dangerous. That's what we're looking to avoid. I have to say that here at Wackersdorf we have had 1 or 2 collisions in this race meeting. Fortunately, no serious injuries, although I have alluded to the fact that Cristiano Magado is not racing in this class as a result of a collision yesterday. So, do we get a nice clean first timer? Yes, we do. And Jérôme Bourcard goes into the lead from pole, and Colin Davis immediately into second place. Oh, and Colin Davis trying to get through on the inside, gets it a little bit wrong, so that gives Jérôme Bourcard a little bit of breathing space. And and that looks like John van Wyk, or is it Mark Thompson, as the dust barely settles. I think that it was perhaps Mark Thompson right at the back. Not 100% sure, but we'll pick that up in due course. Could even have been Georges Popov. But as the race leader, Jérôme Bourcard leads Colin Davis and Christoph Adams. They are the 1, 2, 3. John van Wyk in 4th place. And it looks as if Jérôme Bourcard is already looking to try to get that first, looks if Christoph Adams is trying to get the second place and does so. Christoph Adams goes in front of Colin Davis on the approach to the back straight, and so does John van Wyk. So Colin Davis is not having a happy time, worked himself on a good start into second place, but at the end of lap 1, he's down to 4th. Jerome Bourcard, Chris Adams and John van Wyk are now the 1, 2, 3. And John van Wyk goes second at the expense of Chris Adams. Well, I talked about John van Wyk being the most improved driver in this class and certainly driving the best I've ever seen him. That certainly applies. John van Wyk, who I've never seen in the top half of the field previously, came second in one of yesterday's heats, would have come high up in another one, but for a very last bend clash, and here he is in the final in second place with such an illustrious opponent as Christoph Adams behind him and the world champion Colin Davis behind him. Well, the person who has a chuckle about that, of course, as well as John van Wyk, is the race leader Jerome Bourcard, who thinks, hey, I know I'm at the front and I can't hear anybody behind me. Must have a lead of some nature. It was 1.298, it's now 1.555. So Jerome Bourcard increases his lead as he goes up the hill to the Exi-Suit hairpin at the top of the hill. Christoph Adams, you see in shot there, trailing John van Wyk. John van Wyk in second place, Chris Adams third. Rabin Faber in fifth place and Mark Thompson sixth. The driver who went in the cloud of dust earlier on, I'm pretty sure was 421, which is George Popov. So as well as starting last, George Popov has had to give something in the region of, 150 metres to the sixth place driver, which is Mark Thompson. Well, in shot now, you see 4:07, which is John van Wyk being pursued by Chris Adams. Coming to the wide sweeping right-hander at the end of the lap. Jerome Bourcard already starting his next lap. You just saw him briefly in screenshot there. 1.476, which we've converted to 1.48, as you see on screen, is the margin between Jerome Bourcard and John van Wyk. Chris Adams a tenth of a second behind those two in third place. And Chris Adams just beginning to put the heat a little bit on, well, let me see, John van Wyk having conceded second place to Chris Adams as I was looking at the timing screen. Colin Davis in the Sodi kart in fourth place, looking hard to stay in touch. The fastest lap has been set by Christoph Adams at 52.779. And Colin Davis goes third. Colin Davis goes third. So John van Wyk's little moment of glory only lasted a couple of laps. But hey, this is only the third lap of 18 laps, in the final. So plenty of time for John van Wyk to come back. And there's that little very, very idiosyncratic little bump in the seat that Jerome Bourcard makes. There's Colin Davis in shot on screen, being pursued by John van Wyk, and John van Wyk putting the pressure on the world champion. John van Wyk in fourth place. As a minimum, I would have thought, would want to get onto the podium in the final. He knows he's got more form than he's ever brought to a Rotax Euro Challenge. Davis in front. There is kart number 4 on 101. The 1 indicates not that he's the world champion, but that he's the Rotax Euro Challenge Masters champion. Looks over his right shoulder. And maybe John van Wyk, what do you think? Little bit further detached. Fastest lap to Chris Adams at 52.779. Jerome Bourcard's fast lap is 52.949. So in theory, Christoph Adams must be reeling in Jerome Bourcard, but there's a fair margin between them. It's at least a second. Well, it's 1.12 of a second. Going up the hill towards the Exi-Suit hairpin. And again in shot, we see this battle between John van Wyk and Colin Davis, and it's a good scrap, isn't it? Jerome Bourcard leads, Chris Adams is second, but Colin Davis holding this podium place in third place, but John van Wyk tracking him. Colin Davis, who was raced with us for, I think it's 3 full seasons now, from the west of England, previously drove for Richard Peak Racing and then took some space in Mirror Motorsport awning. I do believe he's now a full Mirror Motorsport driver. And at the moment he's in third place, holding off the challenge of John van Wyk. Well, there you see the story of the stopwatch. Chris Adams and Jerome Bourcard, they are definitely getting a little bit closer. But as Jerome Bourcard looks over his shoulder, it's a good, 25 metres before Chris Adams. And Colin Davis now defending a wide sweep by John van Wyk. Well, that was a good effort by John van Wyk, and it was well defended by Colin Davis. So a nice piece of driving by both drivers there. John van Wyk wound it up for a challenge, a slingshot challenge, but the wily old world champion Colin Davis says, no, mate, no. I've defended moves like that, and I'm going to defend this one. But John van Wyk, 2-3 cart lengths behind Colin Davis at the moment in third place, nevertheless keeping the pressure on. This is the left-hander that leads into the Serpentine. The right-hand hairpin that goes onto the back straight. And John van Wyk in shot now. That lovely, I do like our television shot of the mound here at Wackersdorf. You do see the undulation very clearly. Well, Jerome Bourcard's lead over Chris Adams is less than a second now. 0.607. And Colin Davis. And there's John van Wyk making a move, but it hasn't worked. I think, John, that was more wishful thinking. Don't think he got the angles thought out. And John van Wyk makes the move now. Now, can he make it stick? Yes, he can. So the South African goes past the Englishman and back into third place. Good dice between these two lads. And Colin Davis, as you can see on screen, immediately fighting back. Colin Davis looking to go later breaking. No, he wants to go the big wide sweep. Well, that's going to mean the slingshot through. And it's working for Colin Davis because he's going to get on the inside of the right-hander and goes back into third place. Oh, and John van Wyk got the angles very wrong and had to just ease off a little bit, as a result of which Colin Davis is not just gone into third place, but he's put about 8 cart lengths between himself and John van Wyk. So the South African's got to do it all again. And indeed he's doing so as we climb up the hill. There you see just how close. 407 is John van Wyk. 401 clattering through is Chris. And Colin Davis loses third place to John van Wyk yet again. So this fascinating dice for the final podium position has much racing mileage left in it. In the meantime, at the front, Jerome Bourcard leads, but Christoph Adams is getting closer. Now, an identical move by Colin Davis. John van Wyk knows what's coming. Can he defend it this time? Yes, he does. It's a little bit late by John van Wyk, but Colin Davis loves that part of the circuit and goes third again. So Colin Davis goes back into third place. I don't want to take my eye off that scrap between them, but Christoph Adams definitely getting closer to Jerome Bourcard. They're at the top of the Exisuit hairpin, but here once again our television cameras pick up this fabulous dice for third and fourth place. 401 is Colin Davis from the west of England. 407 is John van Wyk from Johannesburg in South Africa. Colin Davis can easily be picked out on a sunny day or a dull day. He's got a white helmet and the white or maybe a little bit cream Sodicart racing overall. John van Wyk always has those cross belts. Always able to spot John in the paddock because that's slightly distinctive each. Now, you just saw on that foreshortened shot on the television how Chris Adams is getting closer to Jerome Bourcard. There are 8 laps to go, 8 remaining, so we're into the second half of the race. And Jerome Bourcard's lead over Christoph Adams, well, there you see it, 0.5 of a second, half a second. And that's not a lot in racing terms. And when you've got a completely open circuit in front of you and behind you, as Jerome Bourcard and Chris Adams have, it means that Chris Adams could make a move on Jerome Bourcard without being too concerned about the person in third place being able to take a place off him. That's Colin Davis at the moment. Just a little bit more detached now from John van Wyk. And John van Wyk is now going to have to just think about the Czech driver, Radim Faber, because cart number 417, Radim Faber, taking closer order. But Chris Adams getting another fast lap, 52.78. And Chris Adams, as you can see on screen, definitely closing on Jerome Bourcard. Now, 7 laps to go. One would imagine that Christoph Adams is going to catch Jerome Bourcard. Are we talking about the better performing motor? Are we talking about driving within yourself? Are we talking about tyre degradation? Tell you what we are talking about, a good scrap at the front of this one. 34-year-old Jerome Bourcard from Besançon has actually raced karts in Brazil, would you believe? Has taken part in Formula A World Championships in the past and Formula A European Championships, so very, very experienced. But here's the battle in midfield. Colin Davis 401, John van Wyk 407 and Radim Faber, kart number 417. They're having a great scrap, aren't they? And Faber putting the pressure on van Wyk now. Well, John van Wyk, when he was in second place, must have thought I can go really well here, but right now he's defending fourth place. I'm looking to my right on the panorama window here at Wackersdorf, straight ahead of me to the television screen monitor, and to my left for the 1 and 2 drivers of Jerome Bourcard and Christophe Adams. Maybe I stay with the television screen for the best action. The shot on screen now is the dice for 3rd, 4th and 5th between Colin Davis, John van Wyk and Radim Faber. But now we're with the race leader, 402, Jerome Bourcard. Jerome Bourcard driving for Team BRK. Christophe Adams driving for Gem Sport. These two French speakers, one from France, one from Belgium. Both of them speak very good English, both well worth having a chat to. And Jerome Bourcard goes over the mound on the back straight, swings round onto the home straight and sees that there are 5 laps to go. And there's that little bounce in the seat that Jerome Bourcard makes as his own personal idiosyncrasy. Well, I tell you what, Jerome Bourcard has seen that there are 5 laps to go. I bet he wishes it was only a couple of laps, maybe even only 1 lap. Of course, Chris Adams is really close now, 0.318 of a second when they cross the line. But as you see on that visual, Christophe Adams getting very, very close to. And there's a move, let me see, that is cart number 417, is it? Radim Faber taking a move forward, the 3rd place spot. Colin Davis, John van Wyk and Radim Faber have been having their good scrap. You see that on screen, but the dice at the front is a really good one. So we've got very few drivers in the race, but 2 excellent scraps between these 5 guys. 1 and 2, Jerome Bourcard and Chris Adams. And Colin Davis going back into 3rd place as he goes down the back straight. And Colin Davis just gets his nose back in front. But this is now a 3-way battle for the final podium place. Colin Davis is 3rd. John van Wyk is 4th and Radim Faber is in 5th place. But Jerome Bourcard and Christophe Adams have now changed places. So while I was watching that dice, it's very frustrating to know just which is the best to watch. Maybe staying with the television screen would have been the better option. But Chris Adams takes the lead off Jerome Bourcard. There are 3 laps to go at the end of this one. On screen now you see Colin Davis getting himself a little bit detached from Radim Faber. And, well, as I looked at the front runners on the television screen, we've seen an incident, or I've not seen an incident, which means that Radim Faber has gone strongly into 3rd place in front of John van Wyk and Colin Davis, but 3 to go, and driving standards flag being shown to John van Wyk. So that incident has resulted in the karting. There you saw us shot nicely, Reinhard Trop holding the black and white flag and the 407 number. And ooh, that was good racing, wasn't it? Jerome Bourcard and Chris Adams renewing their battle. This is not over yet. We're late in the race, just 2.5 laps to go, but it's still a good scrap between these front-running pair. Christophe Adams, 408, looks over his right shoulder. He sees the little Frenchman, Jerome Bourcard. Wish I didn't say little Frenchman. I say it because I know he's small, and then I feel as if it's a little bit of a derogatory remark. However, I have massive admiration for Jerome Bourcard as a racer, and I like him a lot as a bloke, so maybe he'll forgive me. So, 2 laps to go, 2 to go, as you see that the home straight is governed by these 2, and our camera's quite sensibly staying with this dice for the lead. Christophe Adams looks over, and Jerome Bourcard goes through. Well, it was almost as if Christophe Adams knew that he'd made a mistake, he'd got offline, and he probably thought, well, now Bourcard's gonna go through, and sure enough he did. So the Frenchman from Besançon regains the lead. Kart number 402, the runner-up in this series last year to Colin Davis, regains the lead from Christophe Adams. We are very late in the race, 1.25 laps to go, but it isn't all over because Adams is winding up again for a slingshot move. Adams in 2nd place, Bourcard drives a defensive line there. They'll both be slow out of the corner. Bourcard using the width of the track sensibly, the big fast right-hand sweep. And now they see the last lap board. 17 laps raced, 1 to go. And we stay with this smashing battle at the front, going up the hill to the XE Suit hairpin. Scene of a lot of action this weekend. And Adams goes in front, or does he? Well, marginally he did, but the bend came to the advantage of Bourcard. Christophe Adams now showing signs of a little bit of anxiety because this is the very last lap. If Adams doesn't go past now in the next couple of bends, it's probably all over. Although the approach to the back straight is a good passing spot. Jerome Burkhard just shuffles again, bounces in the seat. I think now that Chris Adams made two unwise decisions, and as a result that Burkhard has got the measure. But let's see, we're onto the back straight for the 18th and final time. Jerome Burkhard has the long, wide, sweeping right-hander to take. He does so, and the winner of the Masters final is Jerome Burkhard. In second place after a great battle is Christoph Adams. And in a lone third place after some close racing, the Czech driver Radim Faber. Coming home in fourth place is John van Wyk. In fifth place, the world champion Colin Davis. Sixth is George Popov, and Mark Thompson completes the field in seventh place. Well, the two drivers on screenshot now, Jerome Burkhard and Christoph Adams, 408 and 402. They had a great dice, didn't they? Both of them led the race at different times. Jerome Burkhard for the greater period, but as our caption shows, in the final analysis, by a margin of 0.27 seconds, your race winner was Jerome Burkhard from Chris Adams and the Czech driver Radim Faber. John van Wyk, I'm afraid, is off the podium in fourth place for the Czech Republic. Colin Davis, the world champion, down in fifth, but George Popov made up a lot of ground from seventh to take sixth place off Mark Thompson. Mark Thompson, nevertheless, completing the field. Good race from the Masters, even on a rather small grid.